Let us start today's solid mechanics lab on a test defined as the helical spring. Test of a helical spring. We all know what is spring. We have all seen and we all know, more or less know how we can, where we can use it and what's its benefit, etc. But there are different types of springs. Most widely used are helical springs. Helical means the spring is wound or formed in the form of the helix itself. I hope you know what is helix. What do you mean by helix? The helix means if you imagine a string or a wire is wound at one end and the other end is winding like other end is kept at an angle with the horizontal itself, that is say alpha, and then wind it over a say some cylinder or some plane shaft as in this bent condition, then it will form a spiral over the surface of the shaft itself. All the through threads thus manufactured follows this type of spiral shape. And this through thread as well as your springs, helical springs, also follows this helical shape, and the angle of helix is the angle which the initial wire makes with the horizontal itself. Mostly, we are using 99% cases we are using left-hand helix, means helical spring is wound from left to right, but right-hand helix, like it is wound from right to left, is also possible here. Now, there are other springs like leaf springs, which mostly used in different type of automobiles or heavy earth moving equipment like this. But mostly up to a certain weight capacity of a automobile, and below that, also all other use, mostly 90% they use are in helical spring, or that also in the form of a left-hand helical spring itself. Now, what exactly the function of the spring itself? What exactly the function of the spring itself? Spring saves the collision between two meeting parts, or by absorbing the force or the weight or the pressure created by one meeting parts, and it does not allow it to transfer to the other itself. It absorbs all by itself. This is the main function of helical spring, and this type of helical spiral-like helix allows the spring to go down up to a certain limit, and that limit and to the force required to press, compress, or extend the spring up to the load, up to that limit, is being absorbed by the spring itself. Now, mostly tensile springs are mostly used over compression. There are compression springs, there are helical, there are coil springs, there are shaper springs. There are so many things are there, but mostly helical tensile springs we use, and we can take into account with this type of string itself. Now, the helical spring is formed when a wire of solid circular section is wound on a circular core in a spiral form. Under the axial load, the spring is subject to both bend and twist. So what is told here, the spring absorbing the both longitudinal or longitudinal length as well as bending and twist itself. Both these subjects, both this type of loads, it is being absorbed by subjected to by the beam itself. When you apply axial force to this feed, need to store some strain energy. Let X be the deflection in the spring after applying the force. Then stiffness of the spring is given by stiffness K is load F divided by X, reformation X. So what a particular spring is doing here, it is just absorbing or stored some strain energy, and let X be the deflection of the spring after applying the force. Say you are using a certain type of compression spring, or if you apply the load, say a vertical heavy load over the spring, it will deflect the spring to a certain extent, and it is absorbing a certain amount of energy. The amount of strain energy is being absorbed by the string itself, and it is not being transferred to the original metal itself. I mean the two meeting part itself. Then stiffness of the spring is given by stiffness K. is equal to load into F multiplied by deformation divided by X. Stiffness is the function. What is how hard the spring is given by the maximum load it can exert divided by the maximum deformation. So the maximum it can carry and maximum deformation is possible with that load, which is we are supposed to establish and in practice and as well as in theory. What is the procedure? First, you see, I'll show you different videos. Let the springs on the table and keep the spring on the table and adjust the weight so it touches the spring itself. So string is kept on the table and place the weight to it. So it touches the spring. So what is supposed to be touch the spring? Make no, not exactly. The spring. Let us fit the spring on the table itself and add the spring weight on the table so that it touches the spring. Now it makes sure that weight reading on the monitor is 0. Now take the reading on the scale, how much it is deforming. Now gradually increase the weight and write down the corresponding reading from the scale. So now the deflection for their corresponding weight is available. So you know the load, and you know the calculate the deflection. Thus you can calculate the stiffness itself. So what is the precautions? The spring should be placed at the center of the workforce. It should not be at the side of the spring. And for the experiments, more or less spring having larger axial diameter is used so that it can be the weight can be easily placed over it. Load is supposed to be changed uniformly. So when you apply the load, you will try to apply it casually, not suddenly you put a heavy load over the spring. The load increases slowly in small amount and deformation is noted. For 5 such reading minimum is required to make this type of loading of the deformation. So ultimately you'll get the deformation and you will get the required loading for all 6 types, 6 patterns, and you can use write down or calculate the stiffness of the spring itself. So let us go for the different videos which we are using here, which we have brought from the YouTube here. Oh.
Connected on a spring testing machine. So this is the middle cross head. This forms the upper and lower cross head. So this is where we conduct the tension test, and here we do the compression test. So the machine consists of a load indicator where we measure the load, and this is the deflection scale where we determine the deflection. Test experiment consists of two helical springs, a vernier calipers, a scale. Involved here is a formula for deflection. So for open coil spring, deflection delta is equal to 64 W R cube N sec alpha by d raised to 4 whole into cos square alpha by n plus 2 sin square alpha by capital E. So W refers to the load, R refers to the mean radius, small n refers to the number of turns, small d refers to the diameter of the wire or the coil, and alpha refers to the angle of helix. Now alpha is absent in closed coil spring and is only present in an open coil spring. So alpha is determined from the formula tan inverse of pitch by 2 pi r, and pitch is found from the formula L minus D by N, where L refers to the length of the spring and D and N we found earlier as the diameter of the coil and N being the number of turns. Now for a closed coil spring, deflection is equal to 64 W R cube N by capital N d raised to 4, where N forms the modulus of rigidity, small n number of turns, R being the mean radius, and W being the load. So before starting the experiment, we first we need to find the diameter, inner, outer diameters, the number of turns, etc. So let's start with an open coil spring. So first we determine the outer diameter using a vernier calipers and we note it down. Second, we determine the inner diameter, that also we note down. Then we count the number of turns, that is also noted as n, small n. Similar procedure is conducted for a closed coil spring. Now we start with the experiment. So first let's start with an open coil spring. So first we mount the spring inside the compression zone. So we need to adjust the height in such a manner. Thus we have fixed the spring inside the compression area. After mounting the open coil spring in the compression zone, first we need to tighten the release valve. Next, set the load pointer at 0 as well as the deflection scale 0. So thus we start loading. Deflection is measured for every 5 mm rise in the deflection scale. So as you can see, 5 mm has risen at the deflection scale. So we note down the corresponding load from the load pointer. Thus, for every 5 mm deflection is measured. So 5 mm has again risen in the deflection scale. Thus, the corresponding load is noted. Thus, we measure deflection for every. Thus, we measure the load for every 5 mm rise, and thus we measure totally for up to 10 readings are noted. And once 10 readings have been noted, we start releasing, and every 5 millimeter lowering of the scale, we measure the corresponding unloading. Corresponding measure reading from the load point is noted. Again, we slightly turn the release valve, and the corresponding low unloaded value is also noted. So thus a total set of 10 unloading readings are noted, and we tabulate them. Next, we experiment on the closed coil spring. Here to check whether the load scale shows 0. Now we need to set the deflection scale to 0. So the deflection scale starts at the point where we have fixed firmly the closed coil spring in the tension zone. So after fixing the closed coil spring in the tension zone, check whether the load point shows 0, and fix a 0 at the for deflection scale. We have fixed this value as the 0 for our deflection scale. So ensuring that the release valve has been tightened, start from 5 millimeter. At 5 millimeter rise, we note the corresponding load from the load pointer. So again, for 5 millimeter deflection, note the corresponding load from the load pointer. So thus we note a total of 10 readings. Thus we note a total of 10 readings, and once 10 readings for loadings are complete, we start unloading. So unloading, on unloading we correspondingly note the load from the load pointer. Again, for 5 millimeter descent of the deflection scale, we note the corresponding load from the load pointer. So thus 10 readings for the unloading are also. So now we do the calculations. For open coil spring, we measure the diameter small d, outer diameter d1 and inner diameter d2 are also assessed earlier. So mean radius capital R is noted from d1 plus d2 by 4. Number of coils is also noted, and axial length is also measured. Now pitch of the coil is L minus d by small n, and pitch P is also thus measured. Now angle of helix alpha is equal to tan inverse pitch by 2 pi r, that is also measured. Now this table forms the loading and unloading values. Their mean is taken, and the mean load forms the capital W. Now we plot a load deflection graph with values of load on the y-axis and values of deflection on the x-axis. We always get a straight line graph, and the slope of the graph yields the stiffness of the spring. Now we find the modulus of rigidity capital N from the earlier formula. Now we need to find the modulus of rigidity capital N. So we use the deflection formula of open coil spring as which we determined earlier. Now for E, we substitute E is equal to 2n into 1 plus 1 by m, where 1 by m represents the Poisson's ratio. So thus we get the modulus of rigidity N, and we use that modulus of rigidity N to find E for the open coil spring, and stiffness we find from the load deflection graph. Now for closed coil spring, we use the formula for deflection delta is equal to 64 W R cube N by Nd raised to 4, and we use this value of capital N to find E, which is equal to 2N into 1 plus 1 by M, where 1 by M represents the Poisson's ratio. Thus, we have the modulus of Good day to you all. I am here to demonstrate the spring test. Spring test is basically conducted to satisfy three aims. One, to find the modulus of rigidity of the material of the spring. Two, to find the modulus of elasticity of the shock absorbers, and closed coil we use. This experiment consists of cos square and diameter of the wire L minus D by equal to 64. So before starting the experiment, first we need to find the diameter, inner, outer diameters, the number of turns, etc. So let's start with, first, thus the corresponding load is noted. Thus we measure deflection for point is noted. We experiment on the closed coil spring. The closed coil spring in the tension zone. So after fixing the
Helical spring. Aim to find the spring constant of a helical spring by plotting a graph between load and extension. Materials required: rigid stand, meter scale, helical spring, 50 grams weight hanger, 50 grams weights. Procedure: take the helical spring and fix it on the rigid stand. Hang a 50 grams weight hanger at the end of the spring. Now, the spring extends and the pointer moves downward. Note the reading that the pointer tip points on the meter scale. Record the reading on the scale in a tabular column as the scale reading for dead load. Now, take a 50 grams slotted weight and put it gently on the weight hanger. Then the pointer moves downward. Note the reading on the scale. Record the mass,
and we have to count the number of coils also in the spring. You can see how the coils are getting counted. In the first case, it is 4. Second, after the green dot, the spring still projects, that is 4.25, and in the third it is 4.5, and in the fourth it is 4.75, and the last coil is the active coils are 5. Now the question is, how is the active coil and inactive coils are measured? The bottom picture, blue color picture, shows the active coils where it moves at the time of application of force, and the inactive coils will be always at rest. So there is a criteria given in the drawing, how much active coil and how much inactive coil can be in a spring, and for number of coils also it is mentioned in the drawing. Then the color coding, where the requirement is RAL 7012 gray. That is to be checked with the specified color, the actual spring offered color, and that color has to be matched. Next, left out in the visual inspection is the banding and color coding. The top picture clearly shows the month and year 11-18, and the L1, that is 330, and the 130 height. Plus the firm's initial is also hot punched. The picture shows how these are found marked on the springs. Let us see the dimension of inner and outer springs. Based on the direction of coiling, inner springs are always LH and outer springs are always RH. The number of coils should be 7.7 and 5.6. Active coil should be 6.2 and 4.1. You can see from the total number of coils in the active coils, there is a difference of about 1.5 in both inner spring and outer spring. That means 3/4 of the coil in the bottom and in the top is always inactive. And the bore dia is 27 mm for the inner springs and 40 mm for the outer springs. The spring outer dia is 165 mm and 259 mm, and spring inner dia is 111 and 179. Similarly, the tip thickness should be 1/4 of the bar dia or not less than 3 mm. And the length under different loads, this is also important. The free length, what we see in the spring is a free length, which should be 313 mm, and the length 1 is 268.2, and length 2 is 255, and length 3 is 244.4. The vertical stiffness is also given in the drawing, which should be 320 and 583 respectively. See, the picture shows how the squareness and parallelism is checked. The specified value is 3.9 mm maximum for the inner spring for squareness, and for parallelism it should be 2.1 mm maximum. For the outer spring also it is 3.9 mm maximum for squareness and 3.1 mm maximum for the parallelism or flatness. And the tip should not bite at no load condition. This is the chemical requirement as per RCF approved QAP. The bar dia, when it is less than 40 mm, should conform to 52 CRMO V4. Here the requirement of chemical silicon, manganese, sulfur, phosphorus, chromium, vanadium and molybdenum is given. If the bar dia is more than 40 mm, then the requirement is different, where there is no molybdenum. The picture shows how the dimensional inspection is done on the primary spring. For the inner dia, there is a gauge which is being checked, and for outer dia also there is a ring gauge. The picture shows how both diameter is checked. Now the free height is checked, it should be 313. The spring is placed on a flat surface and the height at the top surface is measured, and the bar dia is also checked by a dial vernier. This is like the flatness or parallelism. The requirement should be 3.9 mm. This is the checking of perpendicularity, where the requirement is 2.1 in case of inner spring and 3.1 mm maximum for the outer. Let us go to scragging test. Each and every spring, that is 100% of the springs, shall be scragged 3 times in quick succession. Scragging, load or height should be laid down in the drawing. In case there is no indication in the drawing, the springs shall be scragged home. The scragging load in such cases should not exceed 1.5 times the theoretical axial load corresponding to the home length. After the scragging test is done, the spring should not show any permanent set. That is a requirement of this scragging test. Then we are going for crack detection. Though the wheel bars are initially crack tested, the springs are again subjected to heat treatment and normalizing. So there is a susceptibility for getting crack during heat treatment. So again, after in the form of spring also it is being checked. It is done both by headshot and coil method. It's a combined method to detect the cracks in both the directions. It will show the cracks both in surface and subsurface. This test is to be done on the finished springs after the removal of powder coating by means of grit blasting. Now we are checking the hardness. The hardness requirement is 429 to 505 VHN. The 2 numbers per plot is cut and the sample is taken to the machine, hardness tester and tester. Then grain size, the requirement is 6 or finer. The samples which are destroyed during hardness can also be taken for this. It should be polished and it is magnified to 100 magnification and checked for the number of grains. The requirement is it should be 6 or finer as per ASTM. Initially I told about tip biting. This is the method how the tip biting is checked. The feeler gauge should go in freely at no load. In the left hand side it is fully going, whereas in the right hand side the feeler gauge is not going, which is not acceptable. Then the powder coating thickness is to be measured. The requirement is around 40 to 80 microns. It should be checked by a ergometer. Then comes the vertical load stiffness test. The stiffness is told 320 for inner spring, Newton per mm, and outer spring 583 Newton per mm. There is a formula also given for vertical stiffness, which is FB minus FA divided by DB minus DA. FB is the 70% of the solid load and FA is 30% of the solid load. DB deflection at 70% and DA is deflection at 30%. For calculating solid load, the free height minus the ratio, the product between free height minus solid height into the vertical stiffness. Vertical stiffness here is 320 for inner spring and 583 for outer spring. There is a video how the deflection test is conducted. The spring is applied with load and checked for various height. That is for 268 for first instance and 256 and 244. These are the various length measurement and different load. All these data are given in the drawing. We have to check as per that. If it is not confirming, then the springs have to be rejected. We have discussed about the inspection procedure of springs, which is being used in
हेलो दोस्तों, मेरा नाम तरुण दा। आज बताऊंगा मैकेनिकल ब्रांच के अंदर जो पहला जो ब्रांच है जो सेमेस्टर में यूज होता है, जिसका नाम है मटेरियल साइंस लैब, स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मटेरियल लैब। जो मैकेनिकल प्रॉपर्टीज का टेस्ट किया जाता है। मैकेनिकल प्रॉपर्टीज दोस्तों वो प्रॉपर्टीज होता है जिसमें उसका इंटरनली जो प्रॉपर्टीज होता है उसके बारे में जानकारी देता है, जैसे हार्डनेस, स्टफनेस, टिपनेस, मैलेबिलिटी, रिजिडिटी, टेंसाइल स्ट्रेसेस, कॉम्प्रेसिव स्ट्रेसेस, इस टाइप से जितना भी मैकेनिकल प्रॉपर्टीज है उसको टेस्ट किया जाता है। दोस्तों आज का जो स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ मटेरियल का हमारा टॉपिक है जिसका नाम है स्प्रिंग टेस्टिंग। स्प्रिंग टेस्टिंग में जो मैकेनिकल प्रॉपर्टी टेस्ट किया जाता है जिसका नाम है स्टिफनेस। स्टिफनेस वो प्रॉपर्टी होता है जिसमें लोड लगते बराबर उसका डिफॉर्मेशन होता है, लोड छोड़ देने बराबर उसका डिफॉर्मेशन हट जाता है। वो ग्रेजुअली होता है, मशीन लॉ के थ्रू होता है, एक स्ट्रेट लाइन होता है। दोस्तों कैसे होता है? जो मेरा सामने आपको मशीन दिख रहा है जिसका नाम है स्प्रिंग टेस्टिंग मशीन, जिसमें 2 स्प्रिंग का टेस्ट किया जाता है, एक कॉम्प्रेसिव किया जाता है, एक टेंसाइल किया जाता है। दोस्तों आज मैं टेंसाइल टेस्ट करके आपको बताने वाला हूँ जो इसका मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी कितना है, इसका डिफ्लेक्शन कितना है, इसका अंदर स्टिफनेस जो के से डिनोटेड होता है वो क्या है। दोस्तों सबसे पहले जो ये जो स्प्रिंग दिख रहा है दोस्तों, ये टेंसाइल का स्प्रिंग है। इसका जो वायर का डायमीटर 6 mm है, नंबर ऑफ कॉइल जो है 22 है। इसके बीच में जब डिफॉर्मेशन होगा, ये हमारा गेज है, जो गेज के थ्रू आपको पता है जिसका लिस्ट काउंट है 0.1 किलो न्यूटन। इसका डिफॉर्मेशन यहाँ देखिएगा वो कैसे होगा पूरा प्रोसेस करके। दोस्तों सबसे पहले मैं लाइन डायग्राम के थ्रू आपको बताने वाला हूँ। ये स्प्रिंग टेस्टिंग मशीन, टेंसाइल टेस्ट करना है मतलब खिंचाई करना है। पहले L1 आपको देखना है, इसके बाद L2, जैसे जैसे लंबाई बढ़ते जाएगा। इसमें सबसे पहला प्रैक्टिकल करना है जिसका नाम है डेल्टा डिफ्लेक्शन। डेल्टा इज डिफ्लेक्शन। डिफ्लेक्शन का फॉर्मूला होता है 8W/DQN डिवाइड बाई G स्मॉल d का पावर 4। इसमें कैपिटल D वायर कॉइल का डायमीटर, स्मॉल d जो है वो वायर का डायमीटर, G मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी, W इज ए लोड, कितना लोड लग रहा है। इसके बाद G मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी। मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी निकालना है, उसी फॉर्मूला से निकल के आएगा 8W/D3N डेल्टा इंटू D के पावर 4। इसके बाद निकालना जो हमारे लिए सबसे ज्यादा जरूरत पड़ता है वो है स्टिफनेस। स्टिफनेस होता है लोड बाय डिफ्लेक्शन। लोड बाय डिफ्लेक्शन मैंने फॉर्मूला लगाया, लोड बाय डिफ्लेक्शन G/D4 8DQN। इसके बाद निकलता है हमारा जिसका नाम है स्प्रिंग इंडेक्स, कैपिटल D बाई स्मॉल d। ये पूरा प्रोसेस करके मैं बताऊंगा कैलकुलेशन कैसे करना है, रीडिंग कैसे आएगा, इसका स्टिफनेस कितना है, स्प्रिंग इंडेक्स कितना है, मॉडुलस ऑफ रिजिडिटी कितना, हर पॉइंट मैं आपको कैलकुलेशन करके बताऊंगा। दोस्तों ये जो प्रोसेस होता है जिसको कहलाता है हुक्स लॉ। हुक्स लॉ का फॉर्मूला होता है स्ट्रेस अपॉन 10, स्ट्रेस अपॉन 10 व स्ट्रेस प्रोपोर्शनल ट्रेन। स्ट्रेस बढ़ेगा तो ट्रेन बढ़ेगा, ट्रेन घटेगा तो स्ट्रेस भी घटेगा। ये जो है तो ये कैसे होता है, मैं इसका हुक्स लॉ कैसे काम करता है पूरा प्रोसेस करके आपको दिखाने वाला हूं। दूसरा नंबर जो है इसका जो पॉइंट आएगा लोड डिफ्लेक्शन के बीच में ग्राफ प्लॉट करने में, ये स्ट्रेट लाइन आना चाहिए। दोस्तों ऐसा स्ट्रेट लाइन आना चाहिए जो लोड और डिफ्लेक्शन के बीच में जब प्लॉट करना है तो स्ट्रेट लाइन है। ये भी मैं प्रोसेस करके बताऊंगा, पूरा प्रोसेस करके आपके सामने दिखाना है। जो प्रैक्टिकल का नाम है स्प्रिंग टेस्टिंग मशीन टेंसाइल टेस्ट, जिसका टेस्ट जो प्रॉपर्टी टेस्ट करना है जिसका नाम है स्टिफनेस। दोस्तों इसके बाद मैं सीधा मशीन पे जाके स्टिफनेस चेक कर रहा हूं, उसके बाद ये फार्मूला लगा के आपको रिजल्ट देने वाला हूं। दोस्तों ये मशीन है, सबसे पहला जो है ये हाइड्रोलिक सिस्टम से चलता है। दोस्तों सबसे पहले बताऊं हाइड्रोलिक सिस्टम से चलता है, हाइड्रोलिक पांद है। इसमें इसका जो मैक्सिमम कैपेसिटी है 20 किलो न्यूटन है, लिस्ट काउंट जो है 0.1 किलो न्यूटन है। इसके बाद टेंसाइल टेस्ट में सबसे पहले मुझे क्या करना है, इसको एडजस्ट करना है। एडजस्ट करने के लिए प्रोसेस है, इसको मैनुअली एडजस्ट करना होता है। दोस्तों जब दोनों तरफ से टेंशन आ जाता है, ये दोनों तरफ से टेंशन आ गया, ये दोनों तरफ से टेंशन आ गया, इसके बाद मुझे इसको लॉक करना होता है। इसके बाद जो भी टेंशन करना है वो हाइड्रोलिक ऑयल से करना है। ये इसका रिलीफ लीवर है, इसको खोल दिया जाए तो हाइड्रोलिक ऑयल जितना अंदर जाएगा वो बाहर आ जाएगा। जब कॉम्प्रेसिव टेस्ट करना है ये दोनों के बीच में होता है। जब टेंसाइल टेस्ट करना है इंटरमीडिएट और अपर हेड के बीच में होता है। कॉम्प्रेसिव करना है इंटरमीडिएट और लोअर हेड के बीच में किया जाता है। यहाँ पिस्टन जो है वो हाइड्रोलिक प्रेशर को रिलीज करता है। दोस्तों सबसे पहले मैं लॉक कर देता हूँ, ये यहाँ पर टेंशन हो गया। इसके बाद मेरा डिफ्लेक्शन का जो पॉइंटर दिख रहा है वो है 1.5, यहाँ पॉइंटर 0 है, ये है 1.5 mm का मेरा लगा हुआ है। ठीक है दोस्तों, इसके बाद हम प्रेशर डाउन। दोस्तों अभी हमारा जो पॉइंटर है 1.5 से 2.5 पे आ गया है। यहाँ हमारे 0.2 किलो न्यूटन दिख रहा है दोस्तों, 0.2 किलो न्यूटन 1 mm। मैं लिख लेता हूँ, डिफ्लेक्शन जो है हमारा यहाँ लग रहा है 10 mm, 10 mm पर 1 सेंटीमीटर। डिफ्लेक्शन एक्चुअल 10 mm और जो लोड लगा है वो है 0.2 किलो न्यूटन, 0.2 किलो न्यूटन। दोस्तों दूसरा रीडिंग ले रहा हूँ दोस्तों, इसी को आगे रीच करना है। 2.5 है, एक बार मुझे लेना है 3.5। दोस्तों 3.5, इसमें हमारा जो रीडिंग है 4 किलो न्यूटन, 0.4 किलो न्यूटन। और यहाँ हो गया हमारा 20 मिलीमीटर डिफ्लेक्शन। जो तीसरा रीडिंग ले रहा हूँ दोस्तों, ये मेरा 4.5। दोस्तों ये 4.5 हो गया। ये हमारा दिख रहा है 0.6, लोड 0.6 किलो न्यूटन। ये हो गया हमारा 30 mm। दोस्तों एक्चुअल डेटा मेरे पास जो रीडिंग का है वो आ गया है। लोड 0.2 किलो न्यूटन 10 mm डिफ्लेक्शन, 0.4 किलो न्यूटन 20 mm डिफ्लेक्शन, 30 mm डिफ्लेक्शन, 0.6 किलो न्यूटन ये लोड हो गया। इसके बाद थ्योरेटिकल और जी और पे मुझे कैलकुलेशन करना है। इसके बाद मशीन में देखिए दोस्तों, इसके अंदर जो टेंशन आ गया है ऑटोमेटिक आपके सामने गैप दिखने लग गया है। ये आपके सामने दिख रहा है। मैं और थोड़ा सा आपको ये चीज़ पास में दिखाने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ। जो ये हमारा रीडिंग है जो आपको दिखा रहा हूँ, ये हमारा रीडिंग दिख रहा है। ये हमारा स्प्रिंग का टेंशन है। देखिए ये स्प्रिंग का टेंशन है। ये स्प्रिंग कितना गैप हो गया आपके सामने दिख रहा है। ये स्प्रिंग का टेंशन है, ये रीडिंग है, ये हमारा रीडिंग है। पूरा प्रोसेस मैंने